Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where Melissa is my guest expert for today. And Melissa is both a spiritual and akashic guide. So the topic we're going to discuss today is the akashic record. So thank you so much, Melissa, for being here and discussing this topic with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I would love to know, because of course not everyone is aware, what are the akashic records?
So the Akashic records are essentially the library of your soul. So everything that we have ever done, thought, been, had, experienced is all recorded in this field that continually informs us in the present day.
Wow. And I mean, it sounds like it's so easy and simple, but it's quite a deep and profound thing, right?
Right. It's probably taken me like 10 years to actually get it down into such a succinct sentence, because it is so vast, and it's all very easy to say, okay, well, everything that we've ever seen, done, been, but the connotations of that helps us understand that we are constantly being formed about who we were in the past, right?
Mhm.
And the experiences that we've had. And then it goes into our past life experiences and our journey as a soul. And it goes into our karmic lessons and our dharma and our purpose. And then how it is that we're moving forward. And if everything that was recorded, then surely then everything that is recorded, and everything that will be is also recorded. So how do we, what I'm interested in is how do we actually utilize that
Mhm.
so that we can, create the change or become the person or have the understanding or whatever it is that we're here to do.
Mm. And do we all have access to those Akashic records? Can we all learn to read them and access them?
Um, I think it's a possibility for them all.
Mm.
I don't think that you need to have any special superpowers.
Mhm.
I think that there'll be people who'll be more inclined to research and move into them. And I think also, depending who we are, will depend on what depths of the Akashic records we can go into, because they are vast.
Mm.
But my truth is that we do access the record. Everyone accesses the records in some way every day. If you think of the word akash, it means ether, it means space, it's the space in between. And if you wonder about, if I asked you to remember a holiday that you'd had, or a happy childhood memory,
Mhm.
and you allow for that image and the sensations and the experience to rise up, where's that come from? It's
Mm.
not come from a compartment, a filing cabinet in your brain. They've Science has shown that we don't file it away. So where else has it come from?
Mhm.
And if you can access that, then with the right intent and with the right energetic alignment and with the right purpose, then yes, why wouldn't we? These are our
Mhm.
records.
And you mentioned before, like when you have the ability to access those Akashic records and utilize them to become basically what we are meant to become or live our purpose. But how do we do that?
Mm. Um, for me, this knowledge grew, right? So at first, for me, I was very interested in who I was in past experiences,
Mm.
right? Because I think you hear about something like the soul's library. It can be, it's not a far leap to go, okay, well, who was I in past lives? Now, the more I was discovering my past lives and the past lives of clients, the more I realized that there was this thread that ran through the lives, or at least the lives that we were experiencing and revealing, that we had this thread. And it wasn't like, okay, well, this life is about this, and this life is about this, and
Mhm.
this life is about this. It's like, okay, there's this weaving and this moving from, which has helped me become the person that I am today, right?
Right.
And all of these life experiences maybe have given me the tendencies that I've had, maybe have given me the skill set that I've had, the interest that I've had, the relationships that I've had, the patterns that come in, the way that I move in the world has all been informed by what's happened, which is wonderful. But then what does that mean about me moving forward? Because if I can go into a past life and realize that something happened and it led me to form, let's say, a certain belief about the way the world is, like if I was I don't know, somebody who had a lot of money in the past, yeah, and had a lot of power, and then I made a wrong decision and it had dire consequences, then I might leave that life with the belief of money's not safe in my hands, power's not safe in my hands, you know, I don't want to have so much responsibility. I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to be like your average Joe. Uh, but then I might start moving through my life, like restricting myself. And whenever a chance of power comes in, it's like I lose it or I flit it away or I make, you know, kind of questionable decisions. Maybe my life this time is for power to be safe in my hands. Otherwise, why would I have had that experience and then chosen to come into this life with these circumstances if I'm not going to evolve? So
Right.
what am I evolving into? How did what happened then lead me to this? And then what? What's next? What then do I become? And yes, we can go back and heal. And I recommend that. Go back and healing that power is not safe in my hands. What were the other consequences? Getting this higher point of view on it. The most important thing for me is how does that affect how we show up now?
And I also hear the term witch wound a lot, which of course happened for a lot of women a long time ago. And I feel that many women today who identify as witches also have still that witch wound. And so that is also something that can be like read in those akashic records.
For sure. So the witch wound is, in my opinion, a real phenomenon. And people, if you're wondering what that is, it's especially for women and for some men, this fear of being different, this fear of stepping into the power, this fear of magical ability. So that might be your intuition, your psychic senses, transformative abilities. You know, the things that are the sister wound, I think, can sit in with the you know, the trust for other females. But the truth is that we spent many hundreds of years where being a woman in her power wasn't safe. And life was proving us to that over and over and over again. And what we're finding now, and if you're listening to this podcast, this is probably you, that we're ready to step up into something different. We're ready to break the mold. We're ready to trust more into our intuition, to look at things like manifesting and rituals and you know, different forms of energetic healing and magics and, you know, crystal healing and Reiki, and all of these things are coming up for us. And then we find ourselves stopping ourselves or not feeling safe or sabotaging or not wanting to talk about it. And maybe it's because in a past life you were a magical being, or you were accused of being a witch or something like that, maybe. And of course you're then going to hold something that's going to tell you it's not safe. Your body's coming up and going, nope, last time you did this did not end well, stop it, right? But what we also can consider that this was society. So you might not have even been the witch. You might have been the witch hunter, right? Who believed that women in groups of 3 or more, or people that looked a certain way, or you know, women who were so beautiful or so ugly or so whatever, right, that they believed were bad, and then they cause the hanging or the execution or whatever it was. And they had to live with that too. Now, I had a client who I read for her and her husband, and it came out that she was a witch or I would say a witch. She was a witch in a past life. She got persecuted, and then her husband in this life was the witch hunter. And she was like, oh my God, that just makes so much sense, because he was feeling guilt. He was trying to stop her from stepping forward, because in his awareness, this wasn't safe. And he knew what people would be saying about her behind her back.
Mm.
And so the feeling of, well, it is safe to shine. It is safe to step up. It's okay. No one's going to kill you in this lifetime now for having a certain belief. This is the safest times, modern times that we've been in for that, can really help us come to terms with what we're feeling, and then the difference that we begin to, like, really owning who we are.
Mm. And if we recognize some patterns within ourselves that are not of these lifetimes, and you want to dive deeper into those akashic records and change for the better, where do we start?
Well, we start there. We start with the recognition of our patterns.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to dive into your akashic records particularly, so what I'm talking about is going into the past life experiences in this occasion. I would begin with getting some guidance there. These things are always easier with somebody else. There are plenty of books out there that you can read that will help you understand how to guide yourselves through it. You can do guided meditations to understand. You can work with with an Akashic Records guide. You can do it yourself if you are already that way inclined. If you already do Reiki,
Mm-hmm.
card readings, like if you do all of these things, then you find your way of entering the records, and there are many. I use a meditation practice. I know other people use pathway prayers, other people use rituals, some people even use Reiki actually to enter the space. And then you go in with this openness of, I'm open to the information that's available to me.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's blocking me, I leave here at the door. And like, my intention is to receive the healing and the wisdom that's available to me in there, so that I can then make a difference.
Mm. And usually when you think of the akashic records, it's about our past lives, but are there also like versions of our like future selves that are already waiting for us, or is there something we can learn from that, if that's possible?
1,000. So you've got to think, right, if it's true that every single thing that we've ever said, done, been, thought, every thought that we've had is in the Akashic Records.
Mm-hmm.
And quite often we think about our future.
Right.
Oh, I could do this, and this can happen. And we begin and we visualize and we create these images of who we are. That version of you is in the records. Don't know past, future. The records are just recording and recording. And so when we start with these affirmations, or we start with these future projections, or we envisage ourselves, we're creating a record that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be guiding us, just like our past things guide us. Does that mean that this future that I've envisaged is definitely going to happen? No.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can, we can talk for days about how to strengthen the record so that they become more weighted in your reality. But just for this, if you envisage a future and you keep on envisaging the future, and you're trusting that it's going to happen, and you're feeling like it feels like it's going to be there, and you use that to like backtrack, like you go, okay, this is where I'm moving to,
Mm-hmm.
then that can be so powerful to have as a guide to lead you forward.
Mm. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a future possibility
Right.
that you can always change. And the this is where the discussion of how the Akashic Records and manifestations and visualizations and the law of attraction and all of that stuff works, because for me it's explained very well when you start to dive into the intricacies of the records. And if you project into the future and you go along your timeline that's based on who you were in the past, and you carry
Mm-hmm.
on down a road, you don't like what you see, you come back to the present moment and you go, okay, what do I need to change in order to move down that road? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it is something that happened in the past. Maybe I do go backwards and start to bring healing to the witch wound, or the abundance wound, or the hundred of thousands of wounds that we can possibly have. we can do it that way, or we can do it from the present moment and go, okay, well, I'm gonna, you know, choose something new today. I'm gonna keep on choosing something new. Or we can look into the future and go, okay, that's not the future I want to see. This is the future I want to create, and then start visualizing and creating your, if you like to do vision boards or crystal grids or affirmations or whatever it is that you like to do. The future's always in your hands to create. And the Akashic Records can for sure help you with that.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa.